Okay, drawing fans. I was thinking and planning out all of the curriculum and assignments we've been needing to do and that sort of a thing, and it occurred to me, actually it didn't occur to me, but Monday is a holiday, and that kind of takes one day out of the loop of trying to do things. And so this is probably going to be our last assignment on doing some drawings. I wanted to give you enough time to finish it. We may have another, but a smaller assignment, but I'm not positive on that. But we do need to do this one. This is mapping out the face. We've organized and we've drawn the different facial features. We got eyes, and we got noses and mouths and ears and stuff. Well, where we put them in relationship to one another, that's kind of a crucial deal as we start to map out the face. The thing of it is, most people's features follow kind of a guideline, and you'll find them just like there's guidelines drawing the ears or the nose. Most people's faces organized very, very similarly. Now, you know, one person's nose may be higher than another person's nose. That's what makes them an individual. Might be a little bit wider, might be a little flatter, all those sorts of things what makes the individual. But the placement, where you find those features, is usually pretty uniform on from person to person to person to person. So let's go ahead and make a map, a guide on where we're going to find some of these facial features. You'll need a piece of paper, need a pencil, an eraser, those sorts of things. We map this out a little bit. There was one thing that I learned in high school that I remember, one useful thing, and it was how to map out the face according to some rules. And so this is what I learned. First thing we need to do is on our paper is we need to draw an oval. The head in and of itself is an oval. And so I would like you to fill the page mostly with your oval on those. And so that's kind of a cool deal. And you can alter this. Ovals are good places to start. You hear some people say it's more egg-shaped, and so like an upside-down egg, so it's a little bit more in here. But I would like you to make this big enough so that you can draw the features in as you see them. And so that's the oval. This is a bald human being, so we don't have gender to this person yet, but we start out with an oval. On that oval, from the top of the bald head to the bottom of the chin, if you go about halfway, and so I'm going to guess and just I'm looking here, this is about the halfway mark, top of the bald head to the bottom of the chin, here to here, here to here, that's about halfway. Maybe it's a little taller. That's where your eyes are located. I know that many people have been under the assumption that, well, no, Mr. White, you're wrong. That's actually the head, the eyes, they're a third of the way down from the top of the head. Well, if you take into account the forehead and the hair, it comes about a third of the way down. That means from here to here. We're talking the top of the bald head on that, on drawing this. And this works out because the rule we're going to utilize in this is called rule of halves. Like I said, the one thing that I learned in high school from my drawing class that stuck with me and stuck with me and stuck with me is rule of halves. Okay, so halfway between the bald head and the chin is the eye level. And so that's where the level we're going to put. Now, the spacing between here, this doesn't have necessarily a rule of halves on that, but it does have some rules to it. We need to take this area here, and we need to divide it into fifths. So we're going to guess. I'm going to say maybe here, maybe here, maybe here, and then maybe there. Oops, looks like I need to come this way a little bit. That was out of position. And that's why I needed my eraser. Like I said, you got to guess, and then you got to check. We talked about that technique before. Maybe this comes over a little bit more. This over here a little bit. This looks about right. So there to there to there to there to all those. Oh, that we're looking pretty good. Okay, and so we divide that into 5 equal spaces, and that's going to leave us the room that we need for the placement of the eyes. So we know rule of halves takes us halfway between the top of the head and the chin. We divide it into 5 areas, and so the eyes are going to go here and here. The distance between the eyes is about an eye width that you see on those. Now there have been other things I've seen before, the dividing into fifths, and I use this for a while. A lot of times people say, well, it's actually divided into fourths because the face goes right here. And that's kind of true because there's usually a little bit of an indent right here like this as you come out with the jawline, right, with those. And so as that comes in a little bit here, if we put that in, it's actually, there's about a half here and a half here, and so there's 4 areas that you divide in. But we're just going to use our rule of 5 separate areas for that. Okay, and let's draw the eye. We're going to undo kind of the thing here. We know that the eye is rounded on the top. It's kind of flat-ish on the bottom. This one is kind of rounded on the top. This is kind of the review of our facial features that we've been drawing. And it was kind of a squished lemon, so we have usually there's a tear duct or something here in the corner that you can see with those. Let me get the lines out of his eyes, on that one. Or her. I haven't figured out what gender we're going here. Then we're going to put in the pupil up here, right? And it's going to take up a pretty good portion of the eye. Pupil over here. Check to see they're about the same size. That's always a good deal. And then the iris. And it's going to come down pretty close or touching to the bottom of the lower eyelid, but is covered up by the upper eyelid. And then we wanted a little catch light, right? And so that's our little area where we have our reflected light in there. I'm going to take that out a little bit there like that. And I put a little rectangle there. And so then I need to have that same rectangle over on this side too, because it's on sides. The light source is coming in from this side, and so it hits this side of those rounded eyes and has that going for us. Okay, a little bit of a catch light, that's a good thing. Let's go ahead and shade in the pupil. That's our dark part. And we're going to shade in this pupil as well. Look, it's already starting to look like a person. It's got eyes and everything. I'm going to take some of these little markers out here so we can kind of see those eyes a little bit better. Okay, that's kind of cool. As we have that going. All right, then we need some value for the iris part, And it's a little darker on the outside. We have that radial design, right, with the eyes. And like I said, a little darker on those outside edges. A little more juice here. There we go. It's starting to look like an eye. This one over here, same deal. Looking pretty good. A little bit stronger on the outer section, right? A little bit darker. There is the creasy section that is kind of above the eye, right? So we got that going. That's a good deal. And some of these may vary. The thing you're going to find about the eyes and the face you start drawing, it's not a mirrored reflection of each other. This side is not equal to this side. In fact, if you do a mirrored reflection of it, it looks kind of weird as you start to draw the eyes. So just keep that in mind, that we're not drawing reflections. Each side is distinctly different. So it doesn't have to be identical as you look at these facial features on those. Okay, we wanted eyelashes. Eyelashes coming down. And eyelashes coming down and up. And we have eyelashes. I like start here so we can come bring them down this way. And then we can come back this way and we can bring them down and up, so they come out a little bit. That's kind of helpful. Maybe a little bit over here, maybe an eyelash or two on the bottom. Not too many. That's probably plenty over there. Oh, eyebrows. We've got to get our eyebrows in there. And, you know, that's kind of up to you about how far. I look this distance to here, then here to here. That'll do it. And the eyebrow, a lot of times, is more to the inside of the eye as well. This is kind of the visor for your eye, that you have, the protection that you have on those. It provides actually shade for your eye, and it also provides protection with catching, you know, debris and particles and that sort of thing that might fall out, you know. So they do have a function. My eyebrows catch lots of debris and stuff, I guess, on that one. I'm well equipped for that sort of a thing. And so we got the eyebrows in on that one. So the structure, the eye is ready to go. Let's jump into the next part of the rule of halves. So we're going to start here. We had halfway between the top of the head and the chin, and we're ready to go. Let's go halfway between the eye level and the chin, and I'm going to say that's about right there. That kind of looks about right. So that's the halfway point between the eye level and the chin. That's going to be the bottom of the nose that we have here on our rule of halves. So I'm going to draw that little thing. I'm trying to get it kind of in the middle here. I got to get behind it a little, and so draw the base part of the nose there. The width of the nose is going to correspond with about the corners of the eyes. And so the width of the nose is going to go here, and it's also going to go right here, like that. And so that's about how wide the nose is going to be. And so that's the nostril sections that we have over here, right? And remember that they a lot of times come down below, just maybe a little bit lower than this. It doesn't need to be dramatic. We have the telephone part right here, right? The old-fashioned telephone part. Come in that has some things here, it comes back. None of these are actually touching, right? That we have going on here. Bring that up a little bit. And then this little half-curved piece here like that. And then there's a little bit more of some structure of the nostrils. I'm going to cut these a little closer. They seemed a little high, or a little wide in that area. And that's a little bit far in. I'm going to bring the eraser in. Going to smooth this out a little bit, make it a little bit more where we want it, and then this piece over here, and then this can come back and we can get into our fuzzy line area here. At this point we probably want to decide where our light source is. Does it come from the right or left? Usually that's a deal, because you see the profile of the nose, you see with those shadowy sections coming in. So if the light's coming on this side, there's going to be more shadow on the other side with those. So first part here, also part of the structure of the nose, we remember there was this part here, because of the side of the, right beside the eye, was a little bit darker on that. And in fact, this area, as we go underneath the eye over here, this area is probably going to be kind of in shadow as well. I utilize hatching and cross-hatching a lot when I'm doing some of these sketches, because it works out pretty good. Okay, and so we have some shadow area here. You can smudgy some of that in if you want. Come in here if you don't like those hard lines that come with hatching and cross-hatching. I'm a real fan of the side of the tip of the pencil as a tool. Okay, this is the dark part. We got to get the darker sides here, because it does get darker right beside the eye a little bit. And these are soft lines. We had a discussion about hard and soft lines in prior lessons, and these are soft lines of the nose area that we have over here. Oh, I got a little dark, huh? Maybe too dark. We'll see. Maybe we'll lift it out a little bit. And then I'm going to put over on this side is going to be my shadow side. Not quite as dark. I'm going to back up a little bit. That might went a little bit too dark there. Okay. And then maybe this coming in here a little bit more shadowy sort of a thing. I'm going to bring this even over a little bit more to the inside like that, because that narrows quite a bit as we come in through there. Underneath the nose there's some value as well that helps facilitate the look of that nose. And then maybe darken this side in a little bit more here. And maybe just subtle right down here, right? Separating out those the nostrils a little bit. It's real subtle on those values. A little darker underneath here though, huh? And then to the side of the nose over here, probably a little bit of value that we see. There's some shadow areas. Makes the cheeks a little rounder too, huh? Sometimes if you're not quite sure, you can kind of blur your eyes a little bit, and it makes those soft lines even a little bit softer so you can see them a little bit more. Camera a lot of times will make those a little bit fuzzier for you as we get things going. Okay, it looks like we've got a pretty good start on the nose here on that. with our rule of halves on that. I'm going to take a little bit of that out of there, a little bit of that out of there, so we can see that a little bit better. Okay, so now we go for the next installment in the rule of halves, and that is halfway between the nose and the bottom of the chin, which I'm going to say is about right here, more or less, is going to be the mouth. But it's not the part of the mouth that you're thinking of. Most people say, oh, that's going to be the middle of the mouth. Nope, you're wrong. It's not the middle of the mouth. It's actually the bottom of the bottom lip that is right here on this one. So this is the bottom of the bottom lip that is on this area here. And if I take and divide this area into 3 equal spaces, maybe about like this, to where I have the upper lip, or actually the space between the nose and the upper lip and the bottom lip, then you got your spaces going. But it's the bottom of the bottom lip that is halfway between the nose and the chin. So let's go ahead and draw that. How wide is the mouth? That's a great question. Usually there's 2 formulas that I've seen in dealing with the width of the mouth. Number one that I've seen most is it's about the center of the eyes, somewhere in the pupil area. So if you draw straight down like this, and that's the corner of the mouth right there, right? Or we come straight down over here, because this is the middle part right here, right, that we have going. And so somewhere in there is the width of the mouth. The other one that I've seen is if you put a dot right between the eyes like that, and then you take and you hit the nose, boom, like this with a straight line, that's where it intersects. So the dot between the eyes like that, which happens to correspond also with the center of the pupils on that. Kind of weird how that works out. I don't know. I don't get it. It's kind of like magic or something. I don't know. So let's go ahead and draw in the mouth a little bit here. This one looks like I need to come in a little bit on those ones. So I'm going to move that side in a little. So we have the 3 sections of the mouth, right? We have coming in. And that center section sometimes is a little bit smaller. So that's oh, it's already starting to look like a person. Okay, we're going to have to draw in. This is as tall as we go, so remember when we do in the Golden Gate Bridge here, this gets kind of narrow, this gets a little bit taller, like that. This starts coming down a little bit. Now, since I have drawn a oval on this particular drawing, the person's mouth, the person itself, he's looking a little bit like he's been eating pretty well, that sort of thing. He doesn't have a real angular face that we're looking for on that sort of a thing. So he's much more rounded on that one. But that's just to establish the space. We can make some adjustments on that in time. Remember, there's usually a little bit of a darker area right here in the corner. And sometimes, like I said, people like to do this one, draw down here, draw up here, draw like that. I see that a lot in drawings of mouths and that sort of a thing, to get that angular sort of a look to his mouth or her mouth as a deal. It's darker down here at the bottom where the crease is. And then for this one, remember, just a few textural lines as we come back on here. And then the real value of it, of the mouth itself, is usually down over here underneath. There's kind of a dog bone looking thing right here, right? That's a hard line right here, but then all this soft line material is part of what we have going on there for the mouth with those. That's come along pretty good. Okay, we've got to get that final facial feature in here, and those are the ears. I think before I put on the ears, though, I am going to do this a little bit. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit like that, and make that so that it's just a little narrow in here. It does narrow right here at the temples a little bit. And then if you wanted to, you can make these a little more angular as you come down here, and then maybe the jaw line is more like this, right? It's not quite as rounded with that. That was, I don't know, weird for a second there. Hold on a second. Okay, so have to have a good chin here, a little straighter here, and a little bit more like that. And then maybe a little bit straighter here, so it doesn't look quite as has like poofy cheeks and that sort of a thing, depending on what it is you're trying to, who it is you're trying to draw, and that sort of stuff. So I'm just saying that a lot of times these lines are a little bit straighter over here that we're doing. Let's go ahead and finish off that final facial features that we're looking for. And that is the ears. Where do the ears go? The ears are going to go on the side of the head. Go figure. But where's the top of the ears? Well, this does not follow the rule of halves or anything along those lines, but it does start at the eyebrows. And so the ear is going to go, the top of the ear is going to be at the eyebrows. Okay, and so that's where we know from this view anyway, there's 3 hills that we're drawing here. There's the hill, one hill right like that, that we have coming in. The bottom of the ear corresponds to the bottom of the nose. And so there's the second hill that we have coming over like this. And I know you're saying, Mr. White, this guy looks like Dumbo. His ears are so big. And that's true. Ears are actually quite large, as you can. But remember, most of the time, half your ear is covered by the hair. And so you don't see the whole ear unless you have somebody with without any hair. Like Mr. Bay. And his ears don't look abnormally big. But I do think in measuring of those ears that you are going to find that that's where they go, from the bottom of the nose, top of the eyebrows. Okay, the final hill that we have to put in here is this one, along like that, and it kind of swoop-de-doops down like that, make that one a little bit bigger. They're about equal. I've made this cartilage section a little bit bigger on this guy. Maybe we make that a little bit smaller. There's the question mark. There's the ski slope. And come shooting down there like that. There's a little bit of the Y section that we talked about. And then this area is a little darker here. Alright, there we go. Darken that in even just a little bit more. This is going to have some little bit of value back over here too. And then this part here, we had that as a solid line. This is not a solid line. Okay, it's going to be having some attachment points here, like that. And so we have the ear coming over there. Let's put another ear over here. And then this one coming over here. Draw the 3 mountains, 3 hills. There's 1 hill, 2 hill, 3 hills. This is coming out a little bit. This one's coming back a little bit. Question mark. Down into here. Ski slope. Okay, values. Now we got a little bit straight in there on that. We didn't want that too much. We just wanted a little hint on that. Okay, so we have some values back over here on the inside, and then we have the white Y section here on this part. Now let's take out this line that's on the side of his head on that, because we know that the ears are kind of come in and attach here like that. These might be coming up a little like that. Drawing some value for the dark portion. Now normally I would have you go to, this would be the last structural sort of thing, and we draw a portrait and we spend a little bit of time on that. But because of the amount of time we have in class doing online stuff, we really don't have enough time to do a full portrait of somebody, and so hopefully we'll have this going here. So now we have the floating head. The last, we'll touch up things we'll do here. I'd like you to draw some neck. So a neck needs to come down here. It gives a person a little bit more structure on that, a little bit. Oh yeah, okay, now it starts to look like a person with those. Now that's the basic idea. I'm getting a little bit longer on the time than I really want to continue for this sort of a thing. When we first started out, it was probably looking like, oh, you're going to be way off basis. But now that we got the guy actually here, on that one. You're like, oh, that actually kind of looks like it's supposed to on those with the proportions and everything using the rule of halves. And it's true. That's a good deal. Just a quick note about hair. The hair is the hat that sits on top of your bald head. And I mention that because a lot of times people, when they start drawing hair, they start here and they just start, sticking things out like that. But a hat is going to sit on top of your head, something like this, and it's going to cover up some of your ears and that sort of thing, and maybe do a little bit more of a thing. So you're looking at the person's here with their hair on that, is what's going to happen. This is just going to be a quick little thing. I part my hair on the side, so this guy's going to have his hair part on the side. And so there's going to be that. And then maybe the bangs come down and come over here. It sticks up. There's volume up on top of the head because your hair has thickness, right? And then this comes down over here. If you have a little bit of hair back over here, that's sometimes a thing as well. But I just wanted to draw that outline of the hair to give you the idea that, yeah, this stuff has volume and it sits out on top of the head. And so you start to look at it, and that's why, remember I told you the whole thing about the third of the way down, from here to here to here to here. Wow, that looks like thirds, Mr. White. And that's like, yeah, it has to do with where the hair is, not the top of the head on those. But that's a little bit about the facial features. When you map it out, where do you find some things when you're drawing a person? And that's what I like to do. Let's map out the face, and photograph upload when you're done, and that'll be it. Thanks.